Hi there, welcome to Cuppa and Cards. Today is Friday, August 9th. My name is Renee Olson. I am the Neuse River Witch. And we are here for episode 6 of my vlog. And this is the Confessions of a Modern Witch vlog carryover from back in its vlogger days. What we are talking about today is empathy. So grab your tea. Again, Rubio's, that's the tea for me. Grab your tea and let's sit and have a little chat about this. So, empathic eating, right? So we're going to start off and we're going to just talk about empathy. What is empathy, right? Empathy is the ability to be able to empathize or connect to another person, understanding their emotional state and their feelings. So let's say that we are trying to feel positive, feel negative. We are connecting with another person so that we can share their feelings or understand their feelings. To me, it is also a connection of energy. It's a connection of, you hand me this box that you've brought and I hold it and I'm able to feel that energy that's in this box. I can talk to you about this box. I can talk to you about maybe the owner of the box or about, what's happened to that owner. It also is something that is done through, several other, you've seen them give me your watch and they hold your watch and they give you a spiel about your watch and where you are and everything. You're able to also connect to energy through others through a visual means. Like, for example, I have an ability that I'm able to look at either people, right, standing right in front of me, or look at a photo and provide a reading of that photo. Now, when I first found out about this particular ability, it was quite frightening. I was a very small child, and I could see, when I looked at people, I could see colors behind them. I could also see pops of energy, like a sonar, if you will. So if you think about when a submarine and the little screen is up and it's like doo, 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 that's what I see. And I can see things like when I look at someone, I've seen someone who has a frozen shoulder, for example. And if I look at them, I will see the colors, whatever their normal color is, but then I'll also see a little pop. There'll be like a little flash or maybe a dark circle in one area. And that's generally how I identify pain. So when you're able to connect to that type of energy, you can then help people. And ultimately, that's what any empath wants to do, right? They want to be able to help people. They can sense the energy, the emotion. Sometimes it's not rational energy. Sometimes it's fear, but you still sense it. But the ultimate goal is to help someone. So let's take this a step further and say, what about food? Okay, how does food play into any of this? Well, I know for a fact, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the story, Cheetos make me angry. Forever, as long as I loved Cheetos, loved the little crunchy ones, loved the big puffy ones, absolutely love them. Every time I eat them, I would get angry. And I never really put it together until I started doing a lot of research on veganism and whole food plant-based and all of those things, when I identified that the coloring that is in Cheetos is actually it causes aggression in me. I don't think I'm a special snowflake, so if it causes aggression in me, I'm pretty sure it probably causes aggression in other people. That's just my opinion, mind you. But I know that that's not the only food that impacts me in that way, right? But when you eat certain foods with chemicals in them, it changes the way your brain works. It changes your mindset. Some things that you can look at, for example, is if you are a person who has a sensitive thyroid, right? And you go and start dabbling into nightshades. So you start eating tomatoes and potatoes and that sort of thing. It impacts your body. It impacts your physical health. And if it impacts your physical health, it's going to impact your emotional health as well. And then, I mean, obviously, if someone sits down and eats a big old cinnamon roll or a big bowl of ice cream, it lights up your brain, and those endorphins, that sugar inside, that impacts your mental well-being. So food plays a strong role in not only our physical well-being, but in our emotional well-being as well. So when we think about that now, let's think about that for a second. How many people have ever heard of a food coma? Okay, we know what happens, right? You load up on all that food, you load up on those carbs, and then you have all that sugar, and then the next thing you do is you crash, right? So you're eating all these foods, and then you crash, you lose consciousness, and then you go to sleep, right? So your body just shuts down. That is going to be the same thing that happens when you are dealing with your empathic abilities as well, right? So when we're thinking about what food does to your magical capabilities, those empathic capabilities, it's going to impact those as well. We're going to think about that box, right? We're going back to the box, and we're going to say, tell me about this box, as I lose my little piece that goes on my iPad or on my Mac. Tell me about this box. But if you are in a food coma, you're not telling anybody anything, right? Because your abilities have been shut down. So if your abilities have been shut down and you're not able to communicate what you see, what does this mean to really your magic as a whole, right? It's going to impact your entire being. So I do believe that in order to be in control of your magic, you need to be in control of your diet. Now, I want to go a step further into food here for a second. We're going to talk about making the biscuits, right? I'm in the South. We make biscuits down here. You have your bowl, you put your flour in, you put your butter in, and you knead that butter. You cut that butter into the flour, right? You're squeezing it in there. And if you are a person who loves what you're doing, then all of that love is going into that flour. All of those, you're rolling it out with the rolling pin. This is your grandmother's rolling pin, your grandmother's biscuit board, whatever. All of that energy is now into that food. It's into those biscuits. You pop them in the oven, and then when you take them out and you set them on the table for your family, that food is full of love, right? It is full of all of the things that you have made for them. It is full of everyone before you, and it's for everyone that's beyond. Now, if you can taste love in food, you can taste suffering. If you can bring in the love from your family and bring that love into your body, you can also bring suffering in. So if we rewind, right, if we take those biscuits off the table, put them back in the oven, put them back in the bowl, take the milk out, take the butter out. If we have now just the empty bowl and we re-examine what we're putting into the bowl, when we take the flour and put it in, we're putting in all of the chemicals and all of the negativity that's in all of that and the suffering of the farmers. If we take and put the milk in there, we're looking at the suffering of the dairy cows, and we're looking at her being impregnated and kept being in a state of milk production for the majority of her life while her offspring are taken away and either brought into the same system or used as veal. So all of that suffering, that emotional feeling, and for those that have the stomach for it, all you need to do is Google search cow or female or mother cow cries for her young, and you will fully understand what happens to a dairy cow when their offspring are taken away. But all of that suffering is in the food. And now we're just going to take it a step further. There are some cultures that believe that in order for the meat to taste good, the animal has to suffer in death. So they will actually torture the animal right before they kill it, so that the energy that it releases actually tenderizes the meat, and then they're able to sell it for a higher price. So I do not believe that's in America. That's not an American thing. I do believe it is in other cultures. I will see if I can do some research to find that for you, but certainly Google is your friend, and I don't want to really visualize any of that, so I'm going to leave that research up to you. Okay, so now we've talked about what is an empath. We've talked about how food impacts empathy, and now we want to talk about what can we do to reconnect our empathic energies. Let's say that we are at a point where we're on the standard American diet. We're eating meat 3 times a day with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're having dairy. We're having all of those things. What can we do? How can we reconnect with nature and get back in touch with our empathic abilities? I think that one of the first things that you would need to do would be to lower your impact, or lower that presence of things that cause harm in your body. If you were to go to, let's say, a meatless Monday, so every Monday we're not going to eat meat, we're not going to eat dairy, and just start it very slowly, and then transition over into a vegan diet or a whole food plant-based diet. When I first started this journey, I ate bacon, I ate cold cuts, mac and cheese, steak, all the things. I ate all the things. I went from a standard American diet to a vegetarian diet. So I first took out red meat, and then I took out chicken, and then I took out pork, and then I took out fish. So slowly I went from the standard American diet to a pescatarian diet to a vegetarian diet. As I was at my vegetarian diet, I lost probably about 85 pounds, but I still had a massive amount of weight on me. I was still well over 200 pounds. And I wanted to go a step further, and I switched to whole food plant-based. The first month that we gave up dairy, I was able to remember phone numbers that I hadn't been able to remember in years. This entire fog left my body. The necessity to continue to shave my legs, to shave my armpits, all of those things went away. I stopped having cramps. I stopped having pain in my breasts. All of those symptoms that I had, my fibromyalgia, my arthritic hip, all of those things were almost gone within 2 to 3 months of me switching to a full vegan diet. So I think that beginning to reconnect with energy, spend time outside, meditate. There cannot be enough said about meditation. I am neurodivergent, so sitting for a long period of time and just clearing my mind is not something I can do, but I can mindfully meditate. I can wash the dishes and just concentrate on that one thing and not allow all this other energy to come inside. I can walk. I can put my feet on the floor, one in front of the other, in a methodic pattern, and continue to do that over and over to help me become present and be right here today. Other things that you would be able to do is, take a class, go and learn more about holistic practices, learn more about what it means to be someone who doesn't eat suffering. Don't consume suffering in any form, whether it be your food, on television. Start cutting out. We don't need to. If you paid attention to the talk I did a couple weeks ago on nonviolent communication, you'll see that there are references to killing people almost all the time on television shows in the evening. So what I would recommend is that you take that step to make those changes. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for you. And in this card, we're pulling from the River Witch Oracle. This deck is available on my website. You can pick up this deck as well as the Crossroads Oracle, which is my devotional deck to the goddess Hekate. So we're going to pull our card. And this card is the Mosquito. So I'm going to hold this up for you to have a look. The Mosquito card is, the key words for it are persistence, balance, and influence. So with persistence in the Mosquito card, you're going to want to hang in there. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, maybe you're just starting your journey on understanding empathy and understanding how the environment, including things like television shows and foods, impact you. Stay with it. Keep going. You can do this. The next word is balance. Balance is important because while we are making this change, you want to continue to balance that energy out with the rest of your life. Don't do something drastic. We're not asking you, it'd be wonderful if we did, but we're not asking you to go become vegan today. But start reviewing it, start researching it, start looking at these things that will help bring your life into balance. Maybe you're not a person who can be vegan. Maybe you won't become vegan, but you can balance out by making sure that whatever products you get are from sustainable, healthy, animal-friendly practices. And finally, we have influence. Influence is going to be where you use your own powers to make a change. Think about this little mosquito, right? He's a tiny little mosquito, but he can make us move. He can make us dance. He can make everyone in the room move because he has that kind of influence. So that's our card for today. I'm gonna hold it up for you one more time. That's our card for today. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog today. I'm sure I'm gonna get some questions. Not everyone is on board with the whole food plant-based movement. I do have a couple of groups on Facebook. If you're interested in those, just leave a comment. I'll certainly get those for you. Let's talk about it. Tell me what you think. How do you feel about empathy? Do you think what you eat has a role in how well you can relate to others? How about what you view? Does violence on television have to do with it? So yeah, that's our chat for today. Leave me a message and I can't wait to hear from you. Talk to you soon. Bye.